Let me start over. Oh my Lord.
And the bar does close down. We march home with heavy sounds to spouses who wake and cut off our wristband.
Hello, hi, welcome back. My name's Heather, and this is the Fourth Star Knits, a knitting podcast. I am a middle-aged lady living in Chicagoland with my 3 teenage sons, my boyfriend, and our dog Beckett. And yeah, this is the knitting podcast. I am on Ravelry. You can find me there as the Fourth Star. You can find me on Instagram, where I'm terrible at posting, but I like to follow other people, and that is the Fourth Star Knits. So yeah, how are you guys doing? What's going on? I feel like I say this every time that I'm busy at work, but my work is just really busy, so I feel like that's just a standard thing. I actually took a couple of days off this week just to catch up on like housework stuff, because the house is just really terrible. I keep saying that I'm leaving all the cobwebs on purpose because they're going to become part of the Halloween decorations, but that excuse only gets you so far. So yeah, some cleaning had to happen. I completely tore apart my kitchen. I decluttered 2 ginormous boxes of crap. Like, does this happen to you guys where you like start digging through your cupboards and you find like a breakfast sandwich maker from like 1998? You have no idea how it got there. Anyway, that all went to the thrift store, so feeling much better about life. So I thought what I would do is, I have some stuff to show you, some progress that I've made, but I figured I would do another kind of sit and knit with me episode. I do those like every other episode. It's kind of how it's working out. I'm just trying to follow the flow of things with this podcast because it's still really new to me. So, but I enjoy watching episodes where people are just sitting and knitting and chatting, and so hopefully some of you out there enjoy that as well. So I'll show you some knitting. I'm gonna get working on this pair of socks that I've been trying to get done, and yeah, let's get on with it. So first, let me show you some progress that I've made. I feel comfortable showing this now. I'll put a spoiler alert here in case you're not done. So the Sharon Show shawl, Mystery Knit Along, I've made a teensy little bit of progress. I have completed, I think, clue 3. I think there's 6 clues total. I stopped printing them because the guilt I feel now of being so far behind it's intense. So, but this is gonna be a really big shawl, you guys, because I think I'm only halfway done and it's already this long. Is this not crazy? I'm so excited. I love this lace here. I kind of want to do like an entire scarf that's just this lace pattern here. And I know this is uneven. I did too few rows in this middle section here, so it's smaller, but I don't care. I mean, seriously, look at this whole shawl. It's just a whole pile of wonkiness. No one's gonna notice. So anyway, that's my progress on this guy. I really need to pick it up again and just finish, but there's just been other things I want to knit on right now, and that's the way it is. I have no finished objects, obviously, since I've just jumped right into the whips. The other thing that I have been working on, and I'm really close to being done with this, and I don't feel so bad that I'm not done yet because the weather is not quite at sweater weather yet, but here's my ripped sweater. You can kind of see. And I decided to do 3/4 sleeves on these guys. So it's looking a little small across the girls. So this is the ribbing starts here. So I'm hoping that it'll black out because it is a little tight when I put it on. But I mean, because the intent is to wear it over dresses and stuff. So it's a little tight over the dresses, but that's without it being washed or blocked. So I'm hoping that it blooms quite a bit. We'll see. But in any case, I do really like how it's turning out. So I gotta finish the other sleeve. So here's the one sleeve. I gotta finish the other sleeve, and then there's a little bit of something that happens around the neck, which I don't quite remember, but so yeah, getting there. So I've got the other sleeve started. You guys, maybe you can help me with this, because you helped me with something else, which I'll show you in a minute, which I'm super stoked about. But okay, I'm really messy at picking up stitches. All right, like look at this. Look at this absolute dumpster fire of picking up stitches. I don't know. So the way that I was always taught, and I use this when I'm picking up for stitches on a sock, you know, for the gusset or whatever. And so like I look at the back and I pick like the second row in and I pull from there. Should I be doing something different on the sleeves? I should probably YouTube this, but I figure you guys are a pretty awesome group of knitters, and the advice so far that has come from the comments has been solid. So if anybody has a trick for picking up stitches or a link to a video that was like really good with this, let me know, because this is not as tidy as I hope it would be. In fact, I might have to go back in some of these spots, depending on how this blocks out, and just like, I don't know. The other problem that I ran into, which it's under the arm, so it's not gonna be terrible, but yeah, this episode's probably gonna be titled Heather's Many Knitting Mistakes. But again, if you haven't watched my first episode, I'm an intermediate knitter at best. Like, I kind of just fumble my way through things most of the time. So, okay, so here's under the arm, and there's this twisted rib that goes up the arm. And like you see here where it's like this one's like big. Okay, so when this stretches out, this creates a hole. And how this happened is I dropped stitches, right? Because I'm me. You guys all saw the other episode where I like actively dropped out stitches while I was recording. So you can imagine how often this happens when I'm actually knitting. So anyway, I dropped a couple stitches, and when I went to go pick them up, I couldn't get the yarn to like twist back the right way so that it was in a twisted rib. So I ended up picking it up and the yarn twisted the wrong way when I knit it. And so what I got was this stitch right here. So see how open these are? So I guess that's another question I have, is like, how do you pick up twisted rib when you drop it? Or are you just kind of like SOL and you have to rip it all back and start at a row that's not messed up? Or I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm pretty good at picking up other types of stitches when I mess it up because I have a lot of experience with that. But twisted rib, this one's new for me, picking up stitches. I guess I've just never messed up twisted rib before in a way where it was so obvious. I don't know. I don't know why this was different, but I was struggling. So my plan is to try to finish this week, and hopefully I'll have a finished object finally for the next podcast, but we'll see. I got a lot of life to live in between now and then, and Lord only knows what's gonna happen. I do have a half finished object, so if you watched my last episode, you heard me whining about having to do a Kitchener stitch. And some of you fine people recommended that I try something called the Finchley method. It did in fact change my life, just so you know, like, oh my gosh. So the Finchley method is basically like Kitchener stitch, but I feel like I have a sock puppet on my hand. Like there should be googly eyes right here. Wow, a little distracted today. Anyway, so the Finchley method is basically like Kitchener stitch, but inside out. So for some reason, this makes this infinitely easier to remember what you're doing. So instead of like knit one and then purl one behind and then slip one off and then purl and then knit and then do the hokey pokey, like it's very like you just go in one way and then you come out the other way as you're going back and forth grafting the two sides together. So when it's all done, it looks like this. It's perfect. There's no weird little ears, like the sides are all tucked in perfect. Like look at that. Look at that. It's so much nicer. I don't know why I haven't been doing this all along. So, and honestly, the most difficult part about it is turning the sock inside out while it's still on the needles, truly. So you do it, like I said, you do it while it's inside out. So you're doing it on the purl side, and that's what it looks like. So like all the, like the messy little bits or the little bumps that kind of happen from grafting, they're on the inside where no one can see. So solid advice from the comment section. Thank you. Yeah, so I finished the one sock. These are the luminary socks I'm making for my boyfriend's mother. So I need to cast on the other one, and yeah, and then just finish it up. And now I'm feeling so much better about it, knowing that when I get to the end, it's not gonna sit there waiting for me to, you know, try to struggle my way through Kitchener stitch, which I loathe with a passion. I'm still working on the Close to You shawl. I have knit like maybe 10 rows on it, so I'm not even gonna show it because it doesn't look any different. But I do have a new cast on. So I cast on a new pair of socks because, so I always have a list of people that I am making socks for, and some of them know they're on the list and some of them don't. The ones who know they're on the list, well, they tend to bug me from time to time. So last week or the week before, I got a text from my buddy Brian because I had promised him a pair of socks and like a fool told him that I would make him a pair. And he's like, so where's my socks? I'm like, I haven't started them yet because there were other people on the list in front of you. But anyway, I did manage to cast them on. So these are the, this pattern, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called Husband's Favorite, and it's by Twin Stitches Design. And I've been looking for some really good patterns for men's socks. I've noticed a lot of the patterns that I already have, they just don't go up in size enough for like larger men's feet. So for like medium-sized men's feet, they would work, but like, so this one had a size I could tell that was gonna be large enough because I think Brian's like a size 12 or something like that. He's got pretty big feet. And so yeah, so that's kind of why I chose this pattern, and it was free, and I really like the stitch pattern, which is like sort of a broken rib kind of thing that goes all the way around, so there's a lot of stretch. So this is a nice pattern too for if you're knitting for somebody who you're just like not all that well acquainted with like their legs and feet, you know? So like, I feel like for like most of like my friends, like I don't spend a lot of time looking at their calves, so I'm not really sure. So I want to make sure that it's like stretchy enough to accommodate, but also like not too big so that it's loose on his foot. So anyway, so this is how far I am. I'm working on the leg. These are gonna be a little bit longer because these are gonna be boot socks. And so far, I'm really digging this pattern. It's a really easy repeat to memorize. Like you have to do like 2 sets and then you don't have to look at the pattern anymore. But like I said, it provides a lot of stretch. So I'm excited about that. And it's also because of the way the broken rib is and that there's some garter rows in here, the fabric that it's creating is a little bit thicker than your average sock, which for boots is really important. So if you're a person who spends a good part of your day in boots, having thick socks like around the leg part where the laces come up and the front of the boot is really important, because otherwise you can get chafing there, and man, that is a misery if you're on your feet all day. So yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been really looking for a good pattern for folks who are in boots all day, since my boyfriend's a tradesman, Brian's a tradesman, a lot of my friends are tradespeople, so those are the kinds of people I'm sometimes knitting socks for. So that kind of pattern is important to me. And yeah, so far I like it. So I'm knitting this in, this is knitted with sock yarn, and this is in the colorway Owl Post. It's a Harry Potter themed colorway, so you know, can imagine like Hedwig carrying like, you know, a letter with a red wax seal or something like that. That's kind of what it says to me. But yeah, so it's like a cream color with little splashes of red and stuff. And then because I am knitting man-sized socks, I was afraid that one skein wasn't going to be enough. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be. So I did have this ball of yarn left over from my amazing Goodwill find. And this is, I think it's a merino cashmere blend. It has no nylon in it though, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to use this for the heels. I think I'm just gonna be able to use it for like the top and then maybe the toe. I haven't decided yet. But what I'm doing is, so every 4th row is a garter row, and I'm doing those rows in this brown to try to like stretch out the skein. So we'll see. There's a little bit of yarn chicken going on here, so I'll keep you posted. I'm sure you'll all be waiting with bated breath to see how my yarn chicken ends up, but so yeah, a little distracted today. I'm always distracted. I don't know why I keep trying to blame it on like a one-time thing. Clearly it's not. This is just how I am, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it for works in progress. I have not made any stash enhancements. Oh, I did want to show you something though. Hang on. I got this idea because when I ordered this yarn for my sweater from Arctic Crafts, Benta included a couple stitch markers and progress keepers and stuff, and so she included this really cute progress keeper, which I clearly haven't moved since I started the sweater, but I just like how it looks on here. And it's this little glass ball filled with like little stars or something like that. So I don't know if I should probably ask her if she made these or she bought them with the stars inside or whatever, but it gave me this idea to see if they sold the little glass orb things with tops to make stitch markers and progress keepers and fill them with whatever I wanted to. And they do. So I found these on Amazon. I'm gonna fill them with all kinds of little tiny things. I'm thinking like little pieces of moss, like little tiny like stones, or I mean the possibilities are endless, you guys. Like I love tiny things, so I have, like I said before, I just have like little tiny things everywhere, like in jars, and I'm one of those weirdos. So yeah, so I'm gonna make some progress keepers out of these. I'm really stoked. And they came with 2 different kinds of little toppers to throw on there once you've filled it with whatever you want. And so of course, while I was on Amazon buying these, I found these itty bitty little like potion jars. I thought these were so cute. So I was thinking it would be fun to fill these. I haven't figured out like how I would do this, but I thought it'd be cute to do like house themed, Harry Potter house themed, or Hogwarts house themed, like potion jars, like do like green and sparkly for Slytherin, but I don't know what to use for the potion that wouldn't leak out of here. So I'm still working on that, like maybe make like slime or something like that that would go in there that would look like a liquid but then not leak through the cork. Or maybe I can seal it on the underside somehow with something. I don't know, I haven't worked it out yet, but I thought making little tiny potion progress keepers would be really cute. But you know, I could do moss or little specimens or things in here too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that kind of crafty goodness. I bought a bunch of stuff for stitch markers, actually, like all different kinds of like little charms and things like that. So I just haven't had time to like really sit down and craft like that way. Yeah, I will get to that, but I did want to show that because I know, you know, actually I don't know why. I don't know anything, you guys. I'm just a woman who likes to knit and make things. So I'm gonna knit a few rows on these socks and we can chit chat. So I hope you guys have some good knitting to do and maybe something delicious to drink. I have a cup of coffee over here, which is rapidly getting too cold to enjoy, but so be it. The other thing I like about this sock pattern is that I don't have to write down where I left off because I can just tell, because every row is different. So in my part of the world, the Midwest, this is the time of year when we start kind of like cleaning up our yards. The garden starts to die down a little bit. You know, some of the winter stuff or the fall stuff, we don't grow anything in the winter here, but in the fall stuff like potatoes or cabbage, if you're doing any of that, like you still have that going on, but you know, all your tomatoes are pretty much dying back and all that kind of stuff. So doing a lot of cleanup outside. And I've done a lot of work in the backyard. I tend to focus on that area of the house because that's where I am most of the time. And so the front of my house has been kind of looking, well, it's been looking pretty bad since I moved in. Anyway, when I bought the place, it was being rented out, and the owner was, he was really ill. So he was not over here really doing maintenance or doing anything like that. So The house was built in the 70s, and it had the same ugly evergreen bushes out front that were really popular in the 70s that they would plant, and then they would trim them into like squares or rectangles or some other incredibly unnatural shape. And they grew really fast, and they suck up a lot of water, and they were just really popular, and they were still in the front of my house, and they looked terrible. And that was the only landscaping. And it has taken me some time to just kind of work on the house and whatever. But anyway, in our little, like my little part of the neighborhood, like my house is definitely one of like the less well-kept homes, like from the front, right? Because nobody can see all the cool things I've done in the backyard. The front yard looks like garbage. So I finally took the plunge and had all the bushes ripped out, and I have somebody designing some landscaping for the front of the house. So all the bushes came down, and I went outside and I power washed. I have a lot of stonework on the front of my house. So I washed the stonework, and then one of my sons went and power washed the driveway for me, because the driveway is looking kind of scuzzy, and power washing it is a really easy way to kind of like get it, you know, looking decent again. So I have some neighbors across the street who are the type of folks that like their yard is just always perfect. Like they're a retired couple, they're always home, so they have tons of time to do this, and their house just always looks beautiful. You know, like their seasonal decorations always go up right on time, they come down on time, everything's just perfect. And so we power washed our driveway, and this was like 2 days ago. And today I noticed he's out power washing his driveway, but he's not just power washing it. He is cleaning it with like a cleaning solution. He's like sanitizing his driveway. It was so funny. It was like he couldn't stand this. Our driveway was cleaner than his for like 2 whole days. It was cleaner than his driveway. And maybe I'm just reading this wrong. Maybe this was already on his schedule of things to do, but I've never seen him power wash his driveway before. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So anyway, that's what's going on in my neighborhood right now. Apparently there's a contest that I'm not aware of who can have the cleanest driveway. I was just trying to get the oil spots off, you guys. I wasn't trying to be fancy or anything like that. So my driveway is looking pretty good. So I pulled these bushes out, right? And I'm looking at the stonework, and I have like the big like 70s stonework. So there's big rocks set into this mortar, okay? And the mortar is like this red sandy material. It's very soft, which I found very concerning. And I'm looking at it, and I told you I was kind of washing it down or whatever. So as I'm washing it down, this mouse flies out of the wall at me, just like boom, like mouse, just. And I was like, where did you come from? And so I'm looking at the wall, and then I realized there's all these little mouse-sized holes in like the mortar in between the stones. And I'm like, oh, there's a colony of mice living in my masonry. So not that I mind mice, I really don't. I really don't have issues with creatures in general, but if they eat away enough of this stuff or dig it out or whatever they're doing, like the stones are gonna start falling off of my house, which is not great, right? So now, I had a friend come over who does masonry work, and he looked at it and he's like, yeah, we'll get you a quote and get it done, because it needs to all be chipped out and redone. I'm like, great. And then he's like, so, you know, you really also should probably think about your roof. Like, it looks kind of bad. Like, did you get damaged during the storm? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm such a bad homeowner, you guys. So we've had some really bad storms here in the Midwest. And here's the funniest part about this, you guys. So part of my job is, so I work in facilities for a really large non-for-profit. We have a ton of facilities. And one thing that I'll do is after a big storm, there's always damage to the HVAC equipment and the roofs, right? I don't deal with roofing because my specialty is mechanical stuff, but I get sent up on the roof And there's always, you know, I can see the coils on the HVAC units damaged, and like, you know, so I'm aware that these things happen. And the funniest thing is that I was at one of our facilities, which is not far from my home, and they had a ton of hail damage. And I was like, and it did not occur to me to go look at my own roof, right? And yeah, so then we had a roofer come out and look at the roof, and it's like, yeah, there's shingles missing, the fascia is all dinged up. Like, I'm still learning how to adult, unfortunately. But when I bought this house, well, I'm a single mom. I'm still a single mom. I have a boyfriend, but I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom for a really long time. And so when I bought this house, I bought it all by myself, and, you know, didn't have, you know, big strong man to go up on the roof and clean the gutters and stuff like that. So I was just kind of doing the best I could. And my boys were little, or littler when we moved here. You know, they weren't like, basically they're men now. And so, you know, trying to take care of a house all by yourself while raising 3 kids and working a full-time job was like, you know, there wasn't a lot of time to do house stuff. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just thought between the neighbor power washing his driveway and the flying mice coming out of my walls, that was kind of entertaining. So we decided to make good use of the warm weather last night, and the boyfriend and I went out to eat to a place that had some really good outdoor seating. And we get there, and let me preface this by saying, my boyfriend is very food oriented, okay? Very food oriented. It's like 3 meals a day is not negotiable for him. Like for me, I can eat breakfast or not eat breakfast. I can skip lunch. I can drink coffee all day. Have a piece of pizza at 9 p.m. Call it, you know, I don't care. I would live on peanut butter sandwiches if that was allowed. Anyway, boyfriend is not like this at all. He needs food, actual food, real food all the time. And he loves going out to eat. He loves trying new food. Like he's into it. So we're waiting for our table, and he's already got the menu pulled up online and is already reading the description of every single item on the menu, okay? This is how food oriented he is. And he's really excited about this restaurant because frankly, the menu looks awesome. It's got great reviews, so he's stoked, okay? So we get to our table, we get sat down, and you know, we order a glass of wine, but he's already ready to start ordering food. Like he wants food put in now so it gets delivered like now. So she's explaining about the restaurant, you know, is it your first time here, blah, blah, blah. And so she says, so we serve everything small plate style. So everything is intended to be shared, but it's small portions. So just bear that in mind as you're ordering. And my boyfriend's like, great, great, great. So we want to order some appetizers. and our server, God bless her, is just like completely straight face. She's like, well, then you came to the right place, sir. It just went right over his head. Like he just was so focused on like, he wanted to get some dishes of food like ordered. He's like so excited to eat this food. So he orders two appetizers, and they come, and I'm like, so what do you want to order next? And he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know. And so as we're talking, like, I'm like, so everything here is basically appetizers. It's all like small plate stuff. And this man is cultured, okay? He's well-traveled. He has been to Spain where tapas were invented, okay? So he's like not a stranger to this style. He's just so focused on getting the food that and then he was just like, oh, okay. And then he's just like, game on. So then we're like ordering like fish and like also, it was great, but yeah, it was very cute. And the waitress was just so straight faced about it. It was awesome. Oh, one thing that I wanted to do. So I've been getting quite a few questions lately, and I haven't been super good about like getting back to people in the comments because frankly, this whole channel took off in a way that I was not prepared for. Like I figured I would have like a couple hundred subscribers and a few comments and I'd meet some cool people and we'd chat and whatever, and it would just be fun. And instead I've got like, and it's so cool and I'm so grateful, but it was just like, I'm not like socially media savvy as it is, so like I'm catching up. So the questions that are coming in, I've been writing them down, so I have a few here which I will answer. But if you do have questions for me, because I'm getting them on Instagram, and I'm getting them in my email, and I'm getting them, you know, in the comments. But if you could just comment, like on this video particularly, maybe I'll just put something in the description, like if you have questions, ask me here, and I will get to them, I promise. It's hard to keep track of like all the things. One question I got was, there's an Afghan that's normally behind me. Actually, here, let me go get it so I can show you, because somebody had a question about it. And yes, I am wearing pajama pants. Don't judge, it's Sunday. So this Afghan is normally sitting behind me on my knitting chair. I did not make this Afghan. I don't know how to crochet. My mother has tried to teach me on multiple occasions, and apparently I'm just like crochet immune. I don't know. I've never quite gotten the hang of it. So I don't even know what stitch this is. This is an Afghan that I picked up at the thrift store because I have a weakness for Afghans that I find at the thrift store. I just feel like they need to find a good home, and that good home is with me. So I have so many Afghans, which is a good thing because we use a lot of blankets here, you know, being in the Midwest. But anyway, so I don't know. If my mom's watching this, maybe she can comment and tell us like what stitch this is. It's just a chevron pattern, and I don't know what this whole thing is, but I don't know. My mom probably knows how to make this. I don't. So, did not make this, can't help you with the pattern. I'm sorry. It's too hot for blankets today. Well, somebody asked what the shawl I was wearing in episode 6. That was my Rewilding shawl by Helen Stewart, the one that has like the yellow and the pink and the purple on it. That's that shawl. So the question that I get asked the most frequently is about the music that is in the intros and outros of the podcast. And so first of all that music is mine. I own it. It's music that I've written and recorded, other than there's 2 covers that I've done that were recorded and released on albums with permission. So I've been trying to think of how I wanted to like address this or talk about it, because I feel weird, like, because this is a knitting podcast, this is not about my band or my music or anything like that. But yes, the music is available. It's available if you want it. And if you do want it, I'm super grateful that people are even like still interested, because it feels like that was a lifetime ago, and I don't write or record or play shows anymore, which is sad, but that season of my life is past. But yes, it is available. It is available on Spotify. It's available on YouTube. It's available, I don't know where else. Those are probably the 2 big ones. So I will put links to where you can listen to music, listen for free. If you want to own the music, that is a little trickier. So the last album that I did, which was probably the most popular, it's called Third Generation Hymnal. And that album is on iTunes. It's available for sale, but full disclosure, I have no idea where the money goes from the sale of that music. I was on a very small indie record label for a short time. I have not talked to any of those people in years. Yeah, so for all I know, you know, your 11 or 12 bucks could be going into some dude's bank account that like I haven't talked to in 7 years. So I don't know. If you're really interested in having the music, I'm gonna try to find a way to put it up somewhere for free where people can just download it if they want to. Like maybe I'll put it in Dropbox or something. I don't really know the logistics of that. But yeah, I don't mind giving it away for free. Like, why not? I'm just glad people like to listen to it still, because that was, you know, for a while there, that was like, you know, everything to me. It was like my baby that I put out into the world. Those, you know, 3 little albums that we did. But anyway, so that answers that. Yeah, if you're interested, and I'm super flattered that anybody still is, because yeah, feels like it was a long time ago. And like I said, if you have any other questions about anything, you know, just let me know in the comments. And I do read all of the comments. I do get to them, not as quickly as I would like, but I do read through them, and I enjoy it very much. All of your feedback and your suggestions and thoughts and all that stuff. It's all really good. One order of business that I want to address is Vanessa Jones. You won the giveaway. You have not contacted me, so I need you to do that, please, ASAP. If I do not hear from you by, let's put an end date on it. If I don't hear from you by October 30th, I'm gonna pick somebody else. I'll do the random comment generator thing, and I will choose someone else, because I have a whole box of goodies here that needs a home. Oh, and I wanted to say thank you too for everybody who responded with how I should read the Outlander series. That was super helpful. I am gonna be starting that hopefully the end of this week. So I was reading The Wise Man's Fear, which is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. And I wanted to finish that before I started anything new, so I did finish it. So now I'm in the same boat with all the rest of you who are longing for book 3. I can't remember what it's called, The Doors of Stone, I think, or something like that. I watched a couple videos of Patrick Rothfuss talking about writing the 3rd book and when it's supposed to come out, and I have even less hope than I had before that it's gonna get finished, because I was listening to him talk and it kind of sounded like listening to my sons explain to me why they can't finish all their chores or why they can't get their school assignment done or something. And they make it all sound very legitimate, but behind it all, you know, it's because they just don't wanna. Kind of getting that vibe from Patrick Rothfuss, I'm not gonna lie. And then I got distracted because I found a series of books that is it's a continuation of the Firefly series, and if you are not a super sci-fi nerd, I apologize for what is about to come next, because none of this will make any sense, but I freaking love Firefly. It is my all-time favorite television show. It was on for 1 season, and it was the best thing ever. I have seen every episode probably 1,000 times. It is my go-to when I'm feeling crappy. It's my favorite. I like it more than Harry Potter, okay, to put it into context. And I freaking love Harry Potter. I found the series of books. They're not well written, you guys. So if I'm talking to any fellow Firefly friends out there, any fellow brown coats, they're not well written. These were clearly screenplays at one time that they tried to like bookify. And so like the descriptions of what's happening are very screenplay-esque, but if you're interested in hearing like more stories, and like they've started to get into like Shepherd Book's backstory and things like that, if you ever wished that you could read the screenplays for season 2 of Firefly, read these books, because that's basically what they are. Got distracted by that, so I'm gonna finish the first one because I was able to download it for free from Audible's new whatever gimmick that is. And oh, I dropped a stitch, you guys. Dang it. I can't do more than one thing at a time. I know they say women are supposed to be good multitaskers, but I don't think I got that skill. So I finished Wise Man's Fear. I'm gonna finish this book 1, which is called Big Damn Hero, and then I'm going to start the Outlander series. And I'm super stoked about it. It's all downloaded and ready to go on Audible, and I am just gonna sit and listen and knit my little fingers off. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, I had one more question somebody asked me. This one kind of caught me off guard. Somebody asked me if this was a grooming table over here, like a grooming table for dogs. And I think the reason that that was asked was because there's a black bar that was coming up like right here in this area. That black bar is, it's not attached to the table. It's not a grooming table, it's just a regular table, but I have a knitting light, like one of those LED ones that's bendy. So like I'll bend it over like so I can put it close to like what I'm working on so I can see, because my eyesight is really, really crappy. And especially at night, I have a really hard time. So I actually have another another light that I use. It's a neck light. You hang it around your neck, and then it has like 2 beams of light, and then you point the beams of light at what you're knitting or what you're reading. So it's always kind of funny because like when I first put it on, the beams of light are always shooting like straight at my chest. So like both the girls get like a spotlight for a second until I adjust it and shoot the light at what I actually want to. So I always kind of like laugh when I first put it on my neck because it's kind of funny. So yeah, not a grooming table, just a bendy LED light for a blind person. So there you go. And I think that was all the questions that I had on here. I'm looking. My notes for this episode were super duper scattered. I actually tried to start recording, I think it was last weekend, and I was recording and then also thinking of other things that I wanted to talk about. So I would like stop and make notes, and the whole thing ended up being like so disjointed. And then there was a part where like the dog had a barking fit in the middle of it, and it was just kind of a mess. So I just kind of gave up. Sometimes it's just not the right time to record, you know? It's like, it's a lot more work than just like putting your phone up and pressing play. You know, it's like you kind of have to make sure that you have some peace and quiet and that you're in the right headspace and all this stuff. So it's such a fun thing to do. I'm really enjoying this podcast, and I really appreciate all of your like nice words and support, and the fact that you're like subscribing and want to come back for more. It's really, really cool. Well, I did not get a lot of knitting done on here, which is not a big surprise because I'm chit-chatting, and as we've discussed before multiple times, I'm not a very good multitasker. But I enjoyed hanging out with you all, and yeah, I hope to see you on the next one. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay strong, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.
We lay down our weary heads, but we know to whom we'll wait, and it isn't to the bodies in our beds. No, it's a sweet and certain love, and buried in our youth, and in spite of all betrayals, never but we are content. We are content. We are content with one day. We are content with one day.